Moscow, 1960. Colonel Oleg Penkovsky is a decorated Soviet military intelligence officer. GRU, that's Soviet military intelligence, even more secretive than the KGB. On paper, he's the perfect Soviet patriot. War hero family. Stellar military record. Access to the USSR's most classified nuclear weapons programs. But Penkovsky has a secret. He hates the Soviet system. His father was executed during Stalin's purges. He watched his country cover it up. He's seen the corruption, the lies, the paranoia. And he's terrified. Terrified because he knows something the West doesn't. Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev is aggressive, unpredictable, and has his finger on enough nuclear weapons to end human civilization. And Khrushchev is convinced he can bully the young American president, John F. Kennedy. Penkovsky makes a decision that will change history. He's going to betray the Soviet Union to save the world from itself. The problem: how do you contact the CIA when you're surrounded by KGB surveillance 24/7? He tries the Americans first. Approaches them at a party. They think it's a trap. The CIA turns him down. Then he tries the British MI6 in Moscow. This time, they listen. April 1961. The British make contact. Code name: Hero. Penkovsky begins the most dangerous double life in espionage history. Penkovsky has access to everything. Soviet missile specifications. Nuclear warhead yields. Military readiness. Khrushchev's strategic thinking. The crown jewels of Soviet military intelligence. But how do you smuggle this out of the most surveilled nation on Earth? This is where it gets insane. The Tradecraft. Penkovsky is part of Soviet trade delegations. He travels to London and Paris on official business. Perfect cover. The CIA and MI6 give him miniature Minox spy cameras hidden in cigarette lighters. Secret signal systems using chalk marks on lampposts. Dead drop locations across Moscow. One-time cipher pads for coded messages. A phone number to call if he's about to be caught. In hotel rooms in London, Penkovsky photographs thousands of pages of classified Soviet documents. Missile manuals. Nuclear war plans. Military assessments. He's meticulous. Clinical. He knows if he's caught, it's not just prison. It's torture. Then execution. Probably his family too. But he keeps going. Why? Because he believes nuclear war is coming. And the only way to prevent it is for the West to truly understand Soviet capabilities. Not propaganda. Not assumptions. Truth. Between 1961 and 1962, Penkovsky delivers over 5,000 photographs. 111 rolls of film. The most valuable intelligence haul in Cold War history. The CIA calls it the most productive classic clandestine operation ever conducted by CIA or MI6 against the Soviet target. But everything is about to come to a head. Cuba. October 14, 1962. American U-2 spy plane photographs something in Cuba that makes Kennedy's blood run cold. Soviet nuclear missiles. Medium-range ballistic missiles. Being installed 90 miles from Florida. These missiles can hit Washington, D.C. in minutes. No warning. No defense. Kennedy assembles his advisors. The Joint Chiefs want immediate military action. Bomb the sites. Invade Cuba. Start World War III if necessary. But Kennedy hesitates. Because of Penkovsky. Here's what most people don't know. Penkovsky's intelligence saves the world in 3 ways. 1. He reveals the missiles aren't ready yet. Penkovsky had photographed the exact technical manuals for these missiles. The CIA knows they need more time to become operational. Kennedy has a window. Not a big one, but a window. 2. He exposes Soviet nuclear capability limits. The Soviets are bluffing about their strength. Penkovsky's intel proves the missile gap is fake. The USSR has far fewer operational ICBMs than they claim. Kennedy knows he's negotiating from strength, not weakness. 3. He provides Khrushchev's psychological profile. Penkovsky spent time with Soviet leadership. He tells the CIA that Khrushchev is a bully, but he's not suicidal. He'll back down if cornered. But you have to give him a face-saving way out. Armed with this intelligence, Kennedy makes the call. Naval blockade. Not invasion. Not airstrikes. He calls it a quarantine to give Khrushchev diplomatic cover. And he makes a secret deal. U.S. removes missiles from Turkey, USSR removes missiles from Cuba. October 28, 1962. Khrushchev backs down. Removes the missiles. Nuclear war is averted. The world doesn't end. Because of one Soviet colonel who decided his conscience mattered more than his country. But there's a problem. The KGB is closing in. Penkovsky knows his time is running out. The KGB has been suspicious for months. Too many coincidences. Too many accidental encounters with Westerners. In Moscow, everyone is watched. Everyone. The KGB sets a trap. They let Penkovsky think he's safe. Let him make one more contact. One more dead drop. October 22, 1962, right in the middle of the Cuban Missile Crisis, the KGB moves in. Penkovsky is arrested leaving a dead drop site. His CIA handler, a British businessman named Greville Wynne, is also arrested. Both are taken to Lubyanka prison. KGB headquarters. What happens next is brutal. Penkovsky is tortured for months. The KGB wants everything. Every contact. Every method. Every secret. He tells them nothing. May 1963. Show trial. Guilty of treason and espionage. Death sentence. Now here's where it gets dark. The official story, executed by firing squad. But declassified KGB sources suggest something far worse. There are reports, never fully confirmed, that Penkovsky was tied to a stretcher, wheeled into a crematorium furnace, and burned alive as a warning to other potential traitors. The KGB wanted his death to be legendary. Terrifying. Whether this is true or propaganda, we may never know. What we do know. Oleg Penkovsky was executed sometime in 1963. His family was persecuted. His name was erased from Soviet records. For decades, the CIA couldn't even acknowledge he existed. But in the West, among those who knew, he was a hero. So why isn't Oleg Penkovsky as famous as James Bond? Because his story was classified for 30 years. The CIA and MI6 couldn't reveal how they got their Cuban Missile Crisis intelligence without compromising other operations. So Penkovsky remained a ghost. It wasn't until the 1990s, after the Soviet Union collapsed, that the full story came out. What we learned. CIA Director John McCone said Penkovsky's intelligence was crucial to Kennedy's decision-making. Soviet documents confirmed he delivered over 10,000 pages of classified material. Military analysts believe his intel about Soviet missile readiness gave Kennedy the confidence to pursue diplomacy over war. He identified over 600 Soviet intelligence officers operating in the West. Think about that. One man, one conscience, changed the course of human history. October 1962 should have been the end. Historians estimate a full nuclear exchange would have killed 200 to 400 million people immediately. Nuclear winter would have killed billions more. Human civilization as we know it would have ended. But it didn't. Because Oleg Penkovsky looked at the world his children would inherit and said, "Not on my watch." The cost. He knew what would happen if he was caught. He did it anyway. He lost his life. His family lost everything. His name was erased. But 8 billion people are alive today, in part, because of his courage. In 1990, Penkovsky was posthumously awarded the CIA's Intelligence Star, one of the highest honors.